Welcome back to the Starting Gate. Dave Weaver, Matt Carruthers here in Studio B at TVG. And we're going to bring on to the line now the trainer of the two-time defending Horse of the Year, Charlie Lopresti. And Wise Dan's vacation is over. Looks like he's back to work.
Hey, Charlie.
Hi, how are you guys?
We're doing extremely well. Wise Dan, he just had his birthday too, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
Turned 7. Now he's back on the racetrack. Talk about his most recent drill. I think he just worked 3 furlongs, right?
Yeah, you know, we've had him, we've been going about 3 weeks with him. We've been doing a lot of jogging and a lot of light gallops when we can get out. You know, the weather's been kind of not the best here, but we've had about a really good week of weather here at Keeneland. The track's been really good, and we just let him stretch his legs a little bit from the 3/8 pole, and he was, 12 every pole, and he did it real easy, well within himself, and he wasn't blowing a bit when he came back. He actually was pretty full of himself walking off the racetrack, and he came back from it really good. He was happy to get a little something done and start a little bit.
Well, it seems like you like to begin the year with Wise Dan at Keeneland right around their meeting there in April. Is he on track for that, or are you just going to wait and see?
Maker's Mark?
Well, that's kind of what we're looking at again. We are a little bit behind what we were last year, only because our weather has, as you guys know, we've had a pretty rough winter here. But he's a horse that once he gets back into work, it doesn't take him very much. Probably when I ran him last year in the Maker's Mark, I was a breeze or two short of really where I wanted to be, and it worked out okay for us. But we're going to let the weather and the racetrack and just tell us what we do, and that's our target. But if he's not 100% or we don't feel like we've had enough works in him, then we may wait till a later race. But that's what we're looking at anyhow.
I mean, he's truly a great horse. Yeah. I mean, he's two-time Horse of the Year. He's won 10 of his last 11. His only defeat was the weird race, in which they went off the turf and change of distance in the Shadwell. And you've stuck to your guns. You've done what you've wanted to do in 2012 and 2013. You've done a great job with this horse, obviously. And you do the same thing this year, the same type of schedule, or are you going to, because you don't seem to care at all about the critics out there. Oh, we want to see Wise Dan face the Macho Mans and the will take charges. He's done well in the dirt at further distances. You can do the same thing you've done the last 2 years that's worked rather well?
I think, we'll look at that starting out. We'll look at a race at Keeneland if it works out, and then we'll go from there. We'll let the horse tell us when he's ready to run the next time and where we run him. And I wouldn't rule out the dirt because he trained really well at Saratoga last year. He actually worked over the dirt one time there, and I was pleased with that. And, we may even, look at like the Arlington Million, maybe run him a little bit further this time. I mean, he has won a 1.1 miles. He won a race, he won the Woodford was a 1.1 miles. He won a Grade 1 on the dirt 1.1 miles. And a lot of critics, I know I heard the people say, well, he really didn't run against anybody. Now, if you look at what Lee has done in his last 2 races at Gulfstream, it may be Lee was a little bit better horse than everybody was giving him credit for. And Wise Dan, he's been running against Wise Dan. He's come back and won a Grade 1 on the dirt and actually broke the track record at Gulfstream in the Don Handicap.
Okay, so still a chance we could see him because, I mean, do you think about his legacy at all? Because he's a truly great racehorse. He's already established that. But you think, if you could get on dirt and beat some horses like a Macho Man at a classic distance, that you maybe go down as one of the all-time greats. Do you think about that or not?
Well, you got to think about that. What he's done in the last 2 years is really great, and we're really proud of him. And it's something that you think about, and we'll think about it some more this year. But again, we'll just let Wise Dan tell us what he wants to do, and I'm always going to try to put him in the races that I see he has the best chance to win. I'm just not going to throw him to the wolves. And as I told people before, I'd like to, if I'm going to do that, I'd like to have him on a racetrack where I can train him up to a race like that, and not just try to ship him into a racetrack and run him 1.25 miles on the dirt, where a surface that he's never been on. So maybe Saratoga would be a place to start, because we go up there in the summer and he'll at least get a couple of breezes over the track. And maybe if we were going to do it, that would be one time that you would possibly see him on the dirt. And if there's a hiccup in the road here this winter and we don't get to where we want to be at Keeneland, maybe we would run him in the Ali Sheba, Derby weekend. That's another thing. It's 1 mile and 16th on the dirt, but there's a lot of options for him. I guess what I'm saying is we're going to let the weather, racetrack, surface, conditions tell us what we do with him, through the winter.
Charlie, before we let you go, a little anecdotal story. I was actually at the Breeders' Cup 2 years ago at Santa Anita, not working. And the table fairly close to where I was sitting were Mort and Elaine Fink. And I was always a fan of Wise Dan. But then after getting to know them, breeders and owner of Wise Dan, you work for two of the nicest people I've ever met in racing. They are great, great individuals.
Well, you're exactly right, and that's why Wise Dan has done as well as he's done, because Mr. Fink and Elaine both have allowed us to do what we want to do with him, and they're not opposed to giving him time off in the winter and giving him a break like they used to do. Years ago, that's what they did with really good horses. They ran till the end of November or so, and then they put them away for the winter, and you saw him back in the spring. And Mr. Fink likes that program. And, I think that's what's added to his longevity, is that he does get some time off, and he doesn't have to train 365 days a year.